balance the whole vibrations. I send love, peace, joy, abundance, faith, unconditionality, forgiveness, hope. I send these qualities of love to the world, to YouTube, to every listener, every person that stumbles across this podcast. I would love to welcome everyone to episode 4. And I'm thinking titling this The Creative Force of Love. And we will dive a bit deeper into the concept of love and religion and spirituality. And what does it mean to us? And what does it mean to your heart to love, to be spiritual, to be religious, to be routine? Therefore, to commence this episode today, first I would like to challenge the thought of the world being a model, our thoughts and our words being models and symbols of what we experience. Thought and expression and rationale being a mere symbol of what we experience in actual life and waking life. And I'm not sure if you are familiar with the movie Lucy. That movie is great. And one of the concepts in Lucy is that everything that we experience in the physical world is a measurement. And that measurement only makes sense because it is a representation of what we can explain. And we cannot explain why we give these symbols or everything like that, but it makes so much sense is because we can see it and we experience these representations. Therefore, words and language and thoughts are not real. They're not the actual world. So, really, when I first stumbled across that knowledge, it overwhelmed me. I was astounded to the point I was like, what? Everything that we say, that we think we know, is only half the truth. Because the whole truth we can't comprehend of how we know and why we know and everything like that. So it gets tricky because when it comes to knowledge and wisdom, and if we use that ideology that our thoughts and our words are half truth, then how is it that it makes so much sense to us? Why is it that we have a sense of nourishment when we receive wisdom, when we gain wisdom within ourselves? And asking that question, I believe it has to do with the heart and your heart chakra and your sensation of soul and living. And that there's some type of alchemy that happens with knowledge and with insight that gives us, that bolsters our love, our harmony for life. And that's eternal working, because what may internally give me that strength, that concept, may not give you that strength. Perhaps it may be Jehovah God. I pray Jehovah God, and the concept of Jehovah God gives me this strength and this soul for life. It makes everything coalesce, make everything come together. It makes sense. But for the next person, it may be Buddha. The next person may be Allah. And it gives them that harmony to being, to soul. that's what really makes me curious on the power of thought and the power of words. Excuse me. I have a bit of list right now because I'm going through a piercing healing. But let's delve a little bit deeper into these concepts. Let's ask the question, what is love to you? Is love something physical? Is love something emotional or mental? Is love something energetic, ethereal? Is love something ethereal? Is it something energetic? Something that we spiritually experience? Or is it all? Does love have its own dimensions as we have our own dimensions of ourselves? Excuse me. Does love have an astral body? Does love have an emotional or physical sensation? Does it have a mental form? What is the love to us? Me personally, when I think of love, I think of harmony. I think of synchronization, synchronicity. I think of anything harmonic. A note, a chord, a formula, anything that has many components that creates one. Multiple things that synchronizes to create one is what I believe is love. Now that can be ascertained in not such a sophisticated concept. Rather, the notion of love to what a lot of people feel the world expresses and lives in is the notion of romance. The notion of relationship. So two people who really like each other, and for a while they put the other person first, want to please the other person, everything like of that nature. Maybe even they'll put that person over themselves. And I feel that is an accurate distinction. That's an accurate experience of love. But it is not the ultimate experience of love. It is not the most healthy experience of love. Because if you look at the word romanticized, it has to do with fantasy. The actual etymology behind the word is like a fantasy and something idealistic, something that can be romanticized, something that seems to be desired, but not really in actuality. So, the concept of love itself can be a bit tricky, and it does make me wonder, what is it that love offers that humans just can't not shy away from? And it is that component of harmony, that component of feeling that there's something beyond me that can feel like me. There's something beyond me that can bring me peace that I've once felt to myself, or happiness that I've once felt to myself, that I can experience with this other person. Now, if we think of it from a more quantum physics, a more scientific approach, the dual particle wave theory of, the wave collapse, of where a particle and a frequency, a light wave, can exist and as one, but in different spaces, which creates somewhat of a harmony. And once again, we stumble across the concept of bond and binding and synchronization. So that synthesis of matter also having a light component to itself, and that there's this love, that there's this harmony of existence for it to be alive, it's for it to function, and that there's always, even in the subatomic world and the structure, the infrastructure really of our universe, there are expressions of love and harmony, and it creates that balance, sort of like the glue of our world and our universe is that concept of harmony. And so, could we call this harmony a force? The creative force of love. The initial, as they say, Big Bang. The initial Big Bang and the explosion and the light that scatters across and all the heat that comes from a star exploding, which forms gases and everything, creates a harmony. So from a chaos comes a beauty. From a destruction becomes a beauty. And that destruction, that chaos, creates a harmony. Love. It's perplexing to really think on the concept of this. And to think that even within religious dogma, the indoctrination, despite that, there's men, women, or I guess politically correct nowadays, humans have this tendency to corrupt text, say things and put ideologies in there that best suits their civilization or their civilized or populist control agenda. But through all that human nature, that human error, these religious texts still teach love. They still teach how to put others first, how to love yourself, how to love God, the concept of possibility, the concept of faith, the power of faith, the power of possibility, the power of concentration, the power of intuition, believing in entity, believing in knowing what's really best for you in your heart. And through these concepts, through these belief systems, some people need that structure to receive love, to receive the nourishment of wisdom, as we spoke on in the beginning of this episode, that there is an alchemy that happens with wisdom and knowledge that gives the heart a sensation, a validation of being. And some people need that. They need that spark, that heartfelt spark, through indoctrination, through that. And then there's others who are knowledge seekers, bridgers of light, meaning bridges of knowledge. So the bridges of the soul, like us, who who ruminate on the connections, on the harmony through all things, rather than focusing more on the division and feeling pretentiously above everybody or every other concept of living, but creating a frequency of love, which is called etymologically supramental, the sense of oneness. And I really believe love is a concept. Love is a spirituality, and there is dimensions of love and material through the different aspects of reality, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything like that. But there's also dimensions of love within spirituality. And I feel like there is a higher dimension of love by being supramental. There's a higher dimension of love and being in connection with the creative force of harmony, the creative force of love, by finding the connections between all rather than dividing. Because I feel that's what breaks the code. That's what breaks the matrix. Absolutely, that's what breaks the matrix. And these religions, that's what they teach. They teach love. Besides all the errors, the partial, beliefs of this person's wrong for doing this, this person is from this land, so they can't be trusted, or God enslaved these people because of this. All those things. I feel like Jesus absolutely was a great teacher. I feel Muhammad was a great teacher. I feel Buddha was a great teacher. I feel Krishna and Arjuna were great teachers. Confucius and Lao Tzu, great teachers, because they taught the concept of harmony, what it truly means to be in a synthesis with existence. And I believe that we have to always and continuously challenge what our concept of love is. Do we have our person's best interests at heart? Do we have their best interests at heart to put ourselves first in order to put them first as well? Because there's always a balance between this. There's always a balance between life. Because if you do too much for others, then you're not doing enough for yourself. And if you do too much for yourself, then you're not doing too much for others. So even within love, there is a duality. Because that is the spirit that we live in. The might be, maybe, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I like to call it reality. Of that there's nothing absolute. There's only theory. Sure, fall off a building, jump off a building, you're gonna die, right? You're gonna splat your brains, your bones, depending on how it is. You can call that an absolute reality. You get this, my lip pierced, it's gonna hurt. It's absolute reality. It's an absolute thing. Because it's something physical. But not everything that we exist, not everything that we experience is physical. Our thoughts, our energies, love, hate, the essence of life is nothing physical. So to those things, it's duality. But I feel like this dualistic world, or this dualism, isn't forever. I feel like there's not an eternal damnation involved in dualism. I feel like some people have to come here and learn love, learn what it means, and learn the dualism within love, and find balance, so that energetically where the soul takes us will be something so much more blissful, something less bewildering, confusing. And even back to the concept of relationships, truly thinking about what does it mean to have a partner? What does it truly mean to feel love? And absolutely, we can never discredit that sex is a harmonic experience. Sex is most definitely an aspect of love. However, there are ailments, there are curses within loose sex. Unintentional sex, where sex can become dark, becomes a dark, a degrading to the soul, a degrading spiritual experience, because the proper faith and experience within it is not there. Proper intention and desire is not there. So, experiencing the creative force of love, we experience it on many levels. And through religion, most people need that as a ladder to their nourishment and sensation of knowledge and love. Some people naturally have a lens of supplemental perspective of being one, seeing things as one. And within psychology, there are concepts that people's religions are really their internal roadmaps. Is that every religious belief, including the human error that's involved, the indoctrination is solely a harmony of their own traumas, of their own personal moral compass that was sculpted between the ages of 1 and 7 years old. That a person's true religion is their traumatic experience, because that is what harmonically connects them to it. Because some people feel that there was nothing. There's nothing out there. This life means nothing. Because at such a young age, they were traumatically assaulted by a presence, a looming force, a looming shadow of life is meaningless, hurt. That was their way of experiencing it. That's one thing that will 100% open somebody's eye to themselves and to the world, is learning traumas and how they have synchronized them, how traumas have synchronized in their life, and what is it that these traumas have done to them. Then you'll truly learn what it is that may block you from loving others more, or what blocks others from loving you more. And more meaning unselfishly. Because love is a harmony. Love is egoless. Love is seeing things beyond yourself. Seeing the world as we rather than I. And I get it. This is a difficult world. It's a very difficult world. And where we may not trust other people. We may not trust people to see things as we, because we may be susceptible to their manipulation or their evil. It's a tricky world. But as long as we stay with the sensation of knowledge and wisdom and guidance and intuition, give time to think deeper, then love will naturally form. Love will naturally form an understanding within us. And life won't be as complex as it seems. I feel that this is a good place to stop. It's all. I've been home 2.5 months and it's been a journey. Definitely been a journey. And there's always devices. There's always distractions that come and they go. And, excuse me. We have to do the things that bring us back to the foundation of our spirituality, of our purpose, of our peace, of feeling harmony, of feeling understanding, of feeling wisdom, being able to decipher and distinguish wisdom. And for me, it is getting on this phone and talking to this screen and connecting to people who have taken the patience and the time out to listen, to resonate, to challenge my thought. Don't take everything I say as your truth. Decipher it within yourself. Create an alchemy and come up with something that gives you the heartfelt sensation of love. Once again, balance our vibrations. Now take it easy.